Hello, I'm Lucas and I'm a Swedish music freak that have thought about putting something up at my YouTube channel for quite a long time now. And what better way to start in these days when this inconceivable fact has been revealed, which is that ABBA, the Swedish national treasure, is coming back with a new album the 5th of November, their first album in 40 years exactly, since their last studio album, The Visitors. And this is, like I said, inconceivable and amazing for an ABBA fan as myself. I have been a fan since I was about 10 years old, when my aunt gave me the definitive collection of ABBA's singles in 2006 for my 10th birthday. And in the back of my mind, through all these years with Mamma Mia movies and everything that came after, I have of course always dreamed of this coming true. But ABBA has, as you probably know, been very consistent in saying we should never reform because they don't want to be an old pop group singing old pop songs when they are in their 70s as they are now. But then this opportunity for them came with this Avatar project, which deserves a whole video of its own because it's so interesting. But maybe I'll do that later. But for now, I am going to concentrate on the two new tracks, which is I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down. And I will start with a sad thing that is, and the sad fact that ABBA's amazing and integral sound engineer Mikkel Vetreto isn't engineering these tracks and this album because he sadly had a stroke in 2001, which caused damage on his memory, which has made him forgot all about how to record. This is very sad because he was, as I said, an integral part of creating their famous ABBA sound, and he was called sometimes the fifth member of the group because of that important fact. And this is very sad, of course, that he can't be in this recording, but I think that Bernard Löhr has done what he can to preserve the ABBA sound, and of course with crucial help from Bjorn and Benny, which is of course who is of course the producers of these tracks. And also there are a couple of persons in the original ABBA band that sadly aren't with us anymore. I'm of course talking about the amazing bass player Rutger Gunnarsson and Ola Brunkert, one of the original ABBA drummers. But one thing that is fun at least is that some of the original ABBA family is still on this track, and these two tracks, sorry. is of course Lasse Welander and on guitar, and the other drummer, Per Lindvall, which is very cool, I think. I have, as of now, don't realize who's the bass player on these two tracks, and I would like your help with that. So if you know who's the bass player, please submit it in the comment section, because I think there is someone somewhere in the fan community that are going to know that. But over to the songs, and I think, of course, that, or surprisingly, I should say, the girls' voices sound fantastic, given that they don't sing that often, and they certainly don't sound like they are in the 70s. Beautiful voices, and of course on I Still Have Faith in You, Frida's voice is amazing, and it's very fitting to hear her lower register also, which fits the song and the lyrical content perfectly, I think, because you hear that her voice has aged a little bit, but it just gives its patina in this song, I think. I also think that the lyrics are very multi-layered, as always with Björn's best lyrics, and can be interpreted in many different ways, which I think is great. But of course, the most obvious way, and the one that he has also stated, is that it is about ABBA and their unprecedented journey in music history. And yeah, it's very moving, to say the least. I almost started to cry when I heard it the first time. And the music is very majestic and grand. It almost sounds like film music, which in actual fact it is, because a part of the core of the musical structure was used for a film project that Benny was involved in back in 2015 already, called Cirkel, which I think is a great example of Benny's ability to don't give up on a good melody, and always try to rework it or stretch it out or build upon it into new projects. And as for Don't Shut Me Down, which I must say is my favorite track, the same thing goes with his genius ability to be creative with counter melodies and things like that. I have listened to it, I think, about 20 times now, and I always hear something new in it which makes it even more interesting to listen to. You never get tired of it, and I think that's one thing that really makes ABBA different compared to both contemporary groups back in the day, but also of course contemporary groups of today. And Benny said actually in an interview that they are not trying to compete with those contemporary groups of the day, because as he puts it, he don't understand the ingredients of what makes a pop hit today. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that he doesn't need to know that. All that we fans want is a sort of a natural step forward for the group, and I think that's exactly what they have done here. They have picked up exactly where they left off 40 years ago, and this song actually, Don't Shut Me Down, I think is the nearest we fans are ever going to get something that reminds us of Just Like That, or at least it's like that for me. I think it's because of the sex-like sound. I don't think it is a saxophone though. I think it's actually a keyboard. But anyway, it's some kind of sax sound that's reminiscent of that, and also I think parts of the melody can be reminiscent of that, and that's exactly what I want and love that they are doing. It's like a follow-up to The Visitors, as they have stated in interviews, and that's great, I think. And of course it's always this hint of Nordic melancholy in everything that ABBA does, and the unique mix of elements of Schlager and Swedish traditional folk music that I think is what really differentiates ABBA from any kind of pop group that has ever existed. Yeah, I can't wait for the album, and I will do an even deeper analysis of these tracks. Then, so if you like this video, subscribe, and it will be more videos. Thank you, and see you then.